I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
People
they've
are drinking methylene blue and stuff. This stuff works, man.
You do pee out blue.
Really?
Why people choose to use it is this idea of increasing the antioxidants of your body, which of course is the great way of getting rid of all the bad stuff, not just from the exterior, but cells die off and they're becoming trash. The body has to get rid of that waste. But then there's this cellular health benefit too. Anybody who wants to be healthier, whether you're an athlete, you're a scientist, or you're a person who just has like a very stressful job, you need all the brain power and the physical power of oxygen.
The cells are able to repair tissue and injuries, and it goes down the line.
It's one of those things when you read about it, you're like, why wouldn't I take this? It's a pretty inexpensive, easy thing to do with a lot of upside benefits and almost 0 to no high-level risk. Welcome to the ManLab, where we combine science and health in the pursuit of making men great again.
This is how legends are born.
Welcome back to the ManLab. Today we're going to be covering Methylene Blue, its pros, its cons, what it does, and whether or not this is a medication that you would use that will benefit your longevity and your health goals. Today I've got, again, Alex and Jeff from T Clinics, and before we jump into it, I just want to make mention that T Clinics does offer a 10% off your first package for any ManLab listener. If it's your first, your 10th, your 20th listen, just go to bit.ly/TClinicsUSA, let them know in the contact form that you heard through the ManLab, and you will be getting 10% off. So, guys, what is Methylene Blue for starters?
So I'll start by saying I've been taking Methylene Blue for a couple months now. It's a pill format. It comes in a few. I've seen people using like eyedroppers and pills, and the problem with the eyedroppers, your tongue turns blue, like blue.
Like blue tongue lizard?
Like you're like a Smurf.
Yeah, it's very blue. The pills, you can avoid that, so I take the pill. I actually was like originally years like in the 1800s used to dye denim or blue jeans, and so
if I licked my jeans, I could get benefits?
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a difference between what's used today than what was used, way back when. I'm sure there's a cost difference too.
Let's put a disclaimer.
Don't lick your jeans.
Don't be buying like Methylene Blue just dye. Like a lot of the
medical
pharmaceuticals,
versions.
it's actually filtered, and they take a lot of the contaminants that are in there out.
So the quick history story, in the late 1800s, it was discovered as again like a dye to dye denim or dye clothing. From what I understood of the little bit of research I did in this, for that part, is that they were then using it as a way to study cells. They realized that if it can stain clothes, you could give it to the person or inject it into the blood or take the pill or whatever the means was. And it was staining cells that could then be analyzed under microscopes. And through that process, they realized that it had the capability of enhancing oxygen to the cells. So I think in the attempt to observe the cells, they realized that there was like a medical benefit, like most things, right? Like
They stumble upon it.
Yeah, you kind of stumble like Cialis was kind of discovered, Viagra was discovered in that way. They were giving it to people for blood pressure being reduced, and all of a sudden these guys were running with heart on. So
for people that aren't familiar, just quickly, they might be hearing this first time. What's the benefit of getting more oxygen to the cells?
I mean, total health, right? I mean, like an oxygen-rich environment is a healthy body, an oxygen-deprived body is a dying body. We preach all the time about cellular health and a lot of different formats. Like me, for one, I actually have a hyperbaric chamber in my home, and hyperbaric chamber is high pressure, pure oxygen, and you're creating like this really high concentration of oxygen in the body, and thus you can kind of weed out many diseases and essentially the death of the body, right? So
oxygen is life. Yeah. Right. We need it to survive. Our cells need it to survive.
Yeah. So. I mean, which is why it's, crazy that people do things to deprive themselves intentionally of oxygen. And this is one of the reasons why, of course, like COVID and all these other things were, like COVID and all that shit was so bad was because, people were, obviously having really low oxygen volume in their blood, which led to, anything, right? So it was leads to brain cells dying off and just essentially being sick, and eventually, you die. So again,
and cancer is the absence of oxygen as well, isn't it?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think
oxygen or blood flow.
Cancer is just a cell it's a mutated, dangerous
a lot of
cell.
oxidative stress that happens, absence of oxygen. So over time, that's why you want to shoot to have an oxygen-rich environment across the board.
Yep.
As far as cancer, that'd be one of the things that any type of inflammation is going to create that process. Or
no, I'm not saying
expedite
Methylene Blue is going to help you.
Disclaimer
of that one.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's
might.
not a bad start.
Well, I mean, by technicality, as we get into it, it's actually an antioxidant and it provides oxygen-rich environments. So theoretically, under those contexts, it should be, beneficial to somebody who either has cancer or in prevention of getting it. But I wouldn't sit here and say it is a cancer treatment. I think it checks a lot of the boxes, for the reasons in which people are choosing to do it would be the same reasons why, if God forbid you ever ended up having cancer, you would want to take something that has those benefits. So I mean.
In a short, just to kind of I kind of put in the family almost with what NAD plus or NMN, we've done episodes, NMN, NR, what that's doing is very similar. I actually used to discredit just because I'm doing NR and I'm taking NAD plus. And he's seen great results. So I'm actually going to add it to my protocol. I've not tried it yet. I'm 100% going to add it into the rotation.
Find out if you may have low testosterone for free with the Atom test. Now, sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking to go into a clinic to get a full blood panel to find out your hormone levels. And sometimes you might just want to sort of kick the tires just a little bit. If you are that person, the Atom test is for you. All it is a couple of questions that are completely non-intrusive, non-invasive, that will help give an indication to you whether you may or may not have low testosterone. And the best part is the Atom test is accurate up to 88% of the time. So for something as simple as a questionnaire, that is a very high number. Now, if you want to make use of that, you can do it online right now. It takes less than 30 seconds to fill out, and it is at bit.ly/free Atom test. That's free ADAM test. Now, if you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. And then after you've filled out the questionnaire, you will now have a better idea of whether you may or may not have low testosterone and if you need to take the next step, which is a detailed blood panel with a clinic such as T Clinics USA. So again, to make use of that, go to bit.ly/free Atom test, and let's continue to making men great again. Let's get back to the show.
So ultimately, why people choose to use it is this idea of increasing the antioxidants of your body, which of course is the great way of getting rid of all the bad stuff in your system and increasing your immune system and generally helping your body flush out all the garbage that is brought into the body, not just from the exterior, but cells die off and they're becoming trash. The body has to get rid of that waste. When you eat food, there's byproducts and, there's free radicals and shit that your body's constantly trying to get rid of. So you take glutathione, which is an antioxidant, methylene blue is an antioxidant, but then there's this cellular health benefit too, which kind of goes into what we do use NAD for to power those mitochondria of the cells. And there's a lot of additional outside therapies too, like red light therapy, again, hyperbaric chambers, in which you're trying to stimulate the mitochondrial health and the cellular health.
The life of the cell.
So methylene blue just kind of gets into that same ultimate kind of benefits that those products do. So there's no reason, arguably, if you're trying to achieve cellular health, oxygen-rich environment, and a clean low anti or high antioxidant environment, that this product would work for you. So
I was laughing about it the other day when you were talking about it. I'm like, oh, well, there's another thing I'm going to add to the regimen of my 50 things that I take.
Shopping list.
I'm like, well, I'm stupid if I don't, but.
Yeah. And so what's the reason that you take methylene blue in the pill form? Does it come in injectable or is it just?
I don't know. I have never seen it.
So they used to have a sterile because it could be used even for skin wound tissue areas, but it's most commonly used now in obviously anti-aging, just in a pill format or a troche format. Yeah,
I do know they make it in IVs because I know there are therapies in which they inject methylene blue into people's prostates. If you're having a prostate problem, there's actually there's a guy up in Sarasota that if anybody here is having prostate problems, and again, this is not what the show's about, but there's a guy up in Sarasota that I saw on Ben Greenfield's podcast. He actually went there and did a treatment, and it actually can kill off some of the bacteria that's in the prostate that creates prostatitis. And so as opposed to having traditional therapies in which you're going and getting Urolift or other, prostate problems, that injections directly into the prostate could actually void off a lot of prostate problems and even reduce prostate cancer. So if you have an enlarged prostate or having problems with the prostate, consistently having, prostatitis and stuff, that potential option is definitely something to consider.
And that's the injection form for that.
Yeah. So I've seen that, and I've seen it used for that. So then I guess there has to be arguably some other therapies that are being used in other parts of the body. I haven't done the research because I don't really know or haven't had the reasons to look for it. And I do know people have used it in IVs though as well.
And taking it as a pill form, most people, we've discussed it on other podcasts, but is it better to have it on pill form with or without food? Is there anything?
Yeah, like BPC 157, you should definitely take with food for the reasons of the acidity of the stomach is calmed down when you bring food into it. So we have a very acid-rich, kind of high pH environment, in the stomach, and then when you bring in food, you kind of tone things down. So then those peptides can survive that. I don't know if Methylene Blue has the same kind of delicate nature to it. Mm-hmm. So I don't take mine with food.
I haven't seen any research or data showing that with or without food.
Yeah, I guess that is
on the edge of best option. Would you still say with food just?
One thing it can make you feel a little nauseous. The pill itself does, so which would lead me to believe that taking it with food would generally have less of that reaction. I tend to not feel as nauseous when I take things with food that generally make me nauseous because I feel like the nausea comes from an empty stomach. A lot of times, the churning of the stomach. So, if you tend to have a delicate stomach or you're taking Methylene Blue and feeling a little kind of off every time, try it with a small bit of food. I don't think the end absorption or the end result of it's going to change a lot, but I could be wrong.
Your anecdotal experience is having it with food helps suppress nausea side effects.
Yeah.
Are there any other side effects that you can see from this?
I personally know, but I've had clients say when they first start using it, they got headaches consistently, and it depends on how you dose it too. It's very weight dependent. It's a very unique product. Like what would work for me doesn't necessarily going to work for you, and not so meaning you weigh differently than me. Like your absorption and how much you need is definitely going to be So it comes in 5, 10, 15 milligram pills. When I first started it, I started with a 5 in the morning and a 5 in the afternoon. I then got kind of lazy and just went straight to 110, and now I'm at the 115. I just tend to forget to take that lunchtime version, and I don't want to take in the evening. It has an energy boost to it for sure.
Kind of like NAD.
Yeah, so it's one of those.
Similar effect?
Yeah,
I'm not speaking from experience, but just think about what it's doing.
Does it have that similar effect where it's with NAD, for me personally, I feel like I'm mild anxiety, it's not anxiety, but I'm some charged from this.
I don't feel when I use it, I don't feel any negative kind of feeling like anxiety to a point, but I do feel more mentally clear the days I use it versus not.
Really?
A big reason why a lot of people choose to use it. And again, that could be the oxygen improving benefit of it, because of course oxygen to the brain is going to make you more mentally clear. So that should and could have something to do with why I feel better on the days I do it. And it definitely is something that takes a little time to accumulate to become noticeable. Kind of a weird, you're using it component is you do pee out blue.
That's what
so if you want to freak your wife out or somebody else lives in your house.
It's when I was a kid, I used to put blue dye in my milk and my mom thought something was wrong with it. She didn't know.
And it's funny. You could pee in the snow and actually it's blue ink instead of yellow.
Oh yeah, it's blue.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It looks like the toilet looks like when you put those tablets in the back that turn your water blue. It legitimately looks like that.
Oh, dude, potty trick this.
Or or it can be kind of greenish. When you're dehydrated, if you're typically going to pee out yellow because you're dehydrated, you get that real greenish pee. So you're on it. And I think I watched this one thing that said,
is there any odor or anything?
No, nothing different. No, I don't feel like it smells any different. Not that I'm aware of.
I was going to say you're doing some split tests.
No, but sometimes you can
no,
you can smell your tea.
For example, certain vitamins, or if you eat asparagus, you're
if you ever get a real legit Myers cocktail IV, bro, you pee that next morning, it stinks.
Radioactive horse piss?
Yeah, just because you have so much vitamin in your body. I think it's the C that has that vitamin C. Yeah, that shit stinks. But I did read somewhere that says if you're peeing out a lot of the color, it means that your body's not absorbing so much of it. So I do notice at times it's a lot less blue And it means at that time that maybe my cells are more in need of it to a point, or maybe it's like more of an unhealthy time where I'm absorbing such a significant amount. And then when I'm really like taking better care of myself and drinking lots of water and like really, eating well and taking my NAD and doing all the proper stuff that I'm supposed to be doing, I notice that the color is greater. And I think that's because I'm not absorbing as much because my body doesn't need as much.
Yeah,
but when it's like super clear, I'm like, shit, man, I was pretty banged up because my body was depleted and it sucked it all in, right? So, so anyway, if you're listening to this and considering doing it, start light, just because you don't know. Like you may get the headaches, you may get nauseous, and then over time that kind of will go away, and then you can increase, and then you can increase. The max that I've seen people do is 20 milligrams daily, I think. Yeah. And I say people, meaning like pharmacies produce.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a less is more or more is more benefit product to a point where there's going to be like exponential return on your investment by taking more out of it. I think there comes a point that enough's
like
enough.
NAD, depending on how you're applying it, I think you take too much, you get a lot more of the side effects. You get nauseous, you get queasy, you get flushed.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so just quickly, we've noticed a lot of you commenting that you're not sure where you can go to get trusted and safe peptides, semaglutide, tirzepatide, testosterone replacement therapy, or testosterone boosting therapy. And we wanted to just mention that T Clinics USA is one of those places. Now, Alex and Jeff, who you see in this podcast frequently, they're probably in this podcast right now with me, they are from T Clinics USA. And as they've shown in episode after episode, details is what matters. So just because you may want something or think you need something, they are going to make sure that you are getting the thing that is right for the goal that you have. And what's better is they offer a 10% introduction discount to anyone who is listening to the ManLab. So that is you. So if you wanted to make use of that, get peptides or testosterone from a place that you can trust that have your goals in mind and want to show you the right way to get there, go to tclinicsusa.com, mention the ManLab for 10% off your first package, and you can even ask Alex or Jeff directly any questions you may or may not have, which is kind of cool. So just again, tclinicsusa.com. If you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you are listening or watching this podcast. Mention the ManLab in the contact form and you will receive 10% off your first package. Now let's get back to the show. Quickly, before we get back to the episode, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't on whatever channel you're watching or listening to the ManLab. And if you're listening on Spotify, if you could leave a 5-star review on the channel page, that would be greatly appreciated because that will help continue to push it a little bit further for whoever is looking for information to help improve their health. Now, on the topic of information, if you are on YouTube, you can leave a comment below on this episode and we will respond to it with as much information as possible, or it might be another episode down the road. The reason this is important is because the more questions you guys ask, the more we know what we need to do to serve you guys better in future episodes. So comment on YouTube, leave a 5-star review, hit subscribe, and let's continue to help making men great again. Let's get back to the show.
Well, I read when doing some research for this podcast, like one of the really great new biohacker, kind of cocktails, if you will, is NAD plus methylene blue plus red light therapy. So, because red light therapy, of course, you're standing in front of these panels and that red light goes through the skin and hits the cells and charges the cells. And so one of the things that methylene blue does is makes your skin more photosensitive. So it makes you absorb the red light better, theoretically. So it's kind of like supercharging the red light experience, which also lends itself to sun exposure. Yeah. So if you're on, and I notice this with me, like I get red and tan super fast now comparably. Not like being on melanotan, which is a peptide that activates the melanin. Yeah. I just think my skin as a whole is more sensitive to the sun now. And even my eyes, like I notice, like I'm like, holy shit, it's bright out here, or like,
well, that's
like your lights are just
you got it rough,
but more now. Like I notice it, like my wife has always been really like never a person to turn the lights on bright in the house. Yeah, always wants the lights toned down. And she just always says like artificial light hurts her eyes and it's just, very photosensitive. And I was never that way. But I'd noticed in the past couple months, like I'm always finding myself like, damn, turn this light down. Like, because we have dimmers all through my house. And then I finally like read up on it. I'm like, oh, that's why, and I always wear sunglasses outside or a hat, so I generally don't observe too much of the kind of the brightness.
You're the guy that wears sunglasses at night?
Well, he's in Miami, so he's allowed to.
Yeah, I'm allowed to, man.
That's the only place
cool.
he can.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I go to bed when the sun's still up now. Yeah, I haven't seen the dark except in the morning. But no, I just noticed, like, again, like your eyes are a lot more sensitive. So definitely you want to take precaution of that. And if you're noticing being on the stuff that, you know, all of a sudden, like you're constantly squinting or you're getting burnt, that's pretty normal.
Yeah. So for people that are like considering taking methylene blue, like in a nutshell, you've mentioned the cocktail. Would you say, I guess, methylene blue versus NAD, which would you still lean towards? NAD is still stronger?
I was going to
It's
ask you that same
proven.
question,
It's
actually.
proven, you know.
I'll tell you my first-hand experience once I do it. But
Yeah. I mean, look, it's way cheaper, you know. I mean, methylene.
How much cheaper?
To get it pharmaceutical, you know, from the pharmacies we get, it's under $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can buy it like, again, questionable
Clothing
stuff.
guy.
Yeah, again, like I've seen it on Amazon and stuff for pretty cheap, but I don't know the
You're not sure if it's
legitimacy.
pharmacy grade or not.
Yeah, and then you fucking turn your whole
Well,
mouth
that's
blue.
one
Like,
thing I saw. Like, you definitely want to make sure that it's been, you know, filtered and a lot of the contaminants out of there.
Well, nowadays, because there's so many synthetic versions of dyes, that a lot of these things are being pushed off as methylene blue are not actually methylene blue. It's just like blue food dye or something.
Really?
That's super cheap.
Isn't that illegal if you're falsely selling?
And
There's
in
so-
America, man,
the one thing,
it's
listen,
all good.
do you know,
If it's healthy for you, it's illegal.
there's so much stuff sold on Amazon that's counterfeit. Like people buy supplements from like big manufacturers like Douglas Labs or Pure Encapsulation, whoever it is that they think they're buying from. And in reality, there's somebody making counterfeit versions of those things.
And selling it on Amazon,
Yeah.
pretending to be those companies.
I saw this one guy. It was about a private company that was privately making a supplement, and like he looks on Amazon, his product was on there, and he's like, well, "I don't sell my product on Amazon." And he was looking at the lot numbers, and they weren't even his lot number. So his company got like some kind of traction from some kind of you know, podcaster or whatever the case may have
people go on
been.
Amazon.
He was selling a lot off his website, and then somebody notified him, like, well, I bought your product on Amazon. He's like, well, I'm not selling my product on Amazon. Anyway, he bought the stuff, had us into a lab. It wasn't even close to like his own product. And it had a bunch of contaminants. So I just warn people, I never buy supplements on Amazon anymore.
Yeah, for that reason.
Yeah, like I will only personally
Straight
buy them
website.
from like Full Script or from the direct from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Be really careful what you buy on Amazon. I'm not saying it all is fake, but I could tell you a lot of things you buy have credibility based on the company's like true production of it. And again, I mean, you could buy anything from, let's just use Douglas Labs, which has an amazing quality product. And so then somebody, you know, counterfeits it, and you're using the reputation that the company got as like your benchmark for the quality of what you thought you bought, and now you got some shit, right? Pay the extra couple bucks, buy it from the company's website, or again, like there's a company called fullscript.com that I buy supplements from, and we actually set accounts up for them, but they actually buy directly from the manufacturer and they ship directly to the customer. Don't buy from Amazon. It fucking wild
a risk,
west.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to the methylene blue thing, I don't know what they're selling as this blue stuff, and it's not an FDA regulated environment to sell supplements. It's like the Wild West.
So it's considered a supplement, and that's how it's.
Yeah,
it's not
I mean,
really like a peptide pharmaceutical. Like
right.
What,
I think it's
we sell-
by
we
true
sell.
definition, it's a supplement.
Yeah. Okay.
It has an FDA approval though. So Jeff will pronounce it's a blood disorder when you don't have enough oxygen. It's
Metahemoglobinemia.
yeah, there you go.
So basically,
What he said.
You gotta remember the
Metahemoglobinemia.
hemoglobin carries oxygen, and so I guess with that disorder, which is super rare, you know, you're not able to carry the oxygen to the tissues. So,
Okay.
But
And that's what methylene blue is useful for.
it was actually used to treat that. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so look, like
Wait, so people should go to get it.
no,
You-
don't. I'm not saying don't buy it from us. No, but buy.
But you guys do have it.
We do sell.
Yeah, we
Oh,
get it.
sweet. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get some tonight.
No,
Well, it's your health
from
too.
pharmacies. Like
Yeah.
I would not buy methylene blue from any other source besides the pharmacy. I wouldn't buy a supplement version of it, and I wouldn't buy it from Amazon or some other company like this. And again, because the pharmacies are testing them, the impurities, and they're filtering out the stuff that is and can be toxic on to the human body. So again, if it's like industrial grade, what they're dyeing genes with, I can imagine there's a bunch of shit in there that you don't want to be taking, because obviously they don't expect you to take it, right?
Yeah.
So who knows what's in there? Where of course the pharmacies are making it at a level that they're weeding out the contaminant component that isn't health beneficial, and obviously has the end result of what you're looking for to achieve. So, Methylene Blue, guys, is just simple put. Anybody who wants to be healthier, anybody who wants to have more oxygen in their body, to have less toxins and increase their antioxidant exposure, and whether you're an athlete, you're a scientist, or you're a person who just has like a very stressful job, you need all the brain power and the physical power of oxygen to essentially create that capability of like feeling, looking, and aesthetically too. I think it's going to, your skin has all this better exposure to more healthy.
Well, once again,
oxygen.
the cells are able to repair tissue and injuries, and it goes down the line. Cell health.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, shit, I got to add it.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things when you read about it, you're like, why wouldn't I take this? Knowing, and it has, like everything else we tell people, if you have cancer, like, of course, we're not going to like tell you this is the answer. If you're pregnant, you shouldn't be doing it. But I'm not saying it's not okay for those
comes out
people.
blue.
Yeah, you have a blue kid. Remember there's like some people that I think had way too. I don't know. That was silver. They were taking that silver and they like turned their skin blue.
Really?
You ever seen that guy?
No.
Yes. Yeah, he has like the really white beard. He looks like a Smurf.
He is he's a Smurf.
Yeah, but that's from taking too much silver, I think.
Gotcha. Not from Methylene Blue.
No, I don't think so.
Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has helped over 50,000 men and women in Florida lose over 500,000 pounds in body fat. Now, there are wonder drugs out there like semaglutide and tirzepatide, but it's important that these tools are used properly and safely with the correct guidance, because that guidance is what will help you make sure that you're losing that unwanted body fat while keeping the lean muscle mass. Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has over 10 clinics statewide in Florida with expert coaches who are with you the entire way, helping you with any habit adjustment, large or small. The secret behind Nuviva's continual success with their clients is their in-office expert experience. You will speak directly with a support coach, and if you have any questions, you will get immediate answers. If you are struggling, you will get immediate adjustments or pivots that will keep you on track with your goals. And what's great is you can choose the route of your weight loss goals. So if you just want to take diet adjustments and some supplements, you can do it. However, if you want to go a little bit of a stronger, faster approach and use semaglutide or tirzepatide, the Nuviva expert coaches can also help you along the way with that as well. So if you have a lot of pounds to lose or even just a few pounds, and you know that having some support with an expert coach will get you there faster, contact Nuviva at either nuvivaweightloss.com or send them a message on Instagram at Nuviva Weight Loss and mention the ManLab for a little perk. That is Nuviva, Nuviva weightloss.com or at Nuviva Weight Loss on Instagram. So hit up Nuviva, get an expert coach, get that support you want, and let's get you feeling amazing again and lighter again. Let's get back to the show. Who should not take it or be wary of taking methylene?
That's what I'm saying.
Besides pregnant people, women.
Someone who's just taking it and getting like miserable side effects, I guess. Like if you're getting headaches all the time and nauseous to a point where you can't operate on a normal daily basis, then I would say don't. But aside from that, like, again, if you're trying to biohack your body, feel and look your best, it's a pretty inexpensive, easy thing to do with a lot of upside benefits and almost zero to no high level risk.
Yeah.
High level risk meaning like it's going to kill you, cancer, it's going to shut down production of something.
There's no studies currently that could even
that way.
And
it's been out since like the late 1800s, so it's not like some brand new thing, and it's FDA approved for certain
Do you notice
blood types,
when you don't take it? Because like the NAD, I know when I miss NAD or I don't get my microdose, I feel a difference in cognitive function, energy.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, gosh, I'm on so much stuff all the time. It's getting to be ridiculous. The more I do this show, man, it's getting like
but the good thing too is we weed through a lot of the hype, or I feel like there's so much now in the world we live and information, and you have a lot of places pushing products out there that really like in theory might work, but the return on investment's not what it is.
Yeah, and I'd say the majority of the clients that I've turned onto it have always been repeat buyers.
Well, listen, if you check it, I'm taking it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I do red light and stuff, so I feel
You
like
didn't
that.
die yet, so I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm not blue. I'm not blue yet. No, I feel like it's a pretty good product considering what it costs and again the risks that are really not there. So definitely would advise every one of our clients, every one of our listeners to consider at least giving it a few months. Give it like 2-3 months. If after 2-3 months you're not noticing enough of an improvement to warrant the investment in it, then cut it off.
I mean, I could see it being as like a little more cost effective. It's like why somebody would take a supplemental NR and MN, but probably per the science kicked up a notch.
Yeah.
If someone's like maybe, we're pretty
Well,
cost
and I
effective
think
on NED, but I was going to say like if someone's like kind of pinching pennies and they're trying to add something on cellular health, it's definitely kind of intermediate cost wise. Once again, I got to do it.
And I think the nice thing too is
so.
it has a few benefits that go beyond just cellular health, like where NAD is almost exclusively for cellular health and energy. It has that, but it also has the antioxidant component,
right?
And the oxygen kind of improving, benefits. So you're getting almost like one product that kind of checks on like 3 different categories. And so that to me is a pretty easy sale.
The science is there. So that's
Yeah,
and like I said, there's not like this is a brand new thing that people are just like, fuck it, I'll try it. And people 2 years from now, we're going to have this, oh, damn, that was a bad choice.
Yeah.
It's been out since the late 1800s. So we would have got wind of some problems by now.
Probably, yeah. Anything else we need to cover on this
No.
supplement that I'm now going to get?
Yeah.
No?
Try it out.
So guys, you can grab this from T Clinics USA. I'm glad I found that out. I don't know why you guys didn't have it, but now we know. So bit.ly/T Clinics USA to get 10% off your first package. Throw some Methylene Blue in there if you want. And make sure you subscribe on wherever you're listening, watching this right now. And we'll see you guys next episode. Peace.
go blue. No, don't go blue.